Welcome clients and guests to my channel. I'm Jason Cerro and I'm a licensed professional counselor. My videos are designed to educate and empower you to make informed decisions about your mental health. Today I'll be talking to you about rejection-sensitive dysphoria, RSD, and the effect it has on relationships and specifically the anticipation of potential communication with someone where there may be conflict looming. By the end of this video, you will have several strategies to use whether you have RSD or are in a relationship with someone who has RSD. These strategies will help you identify and manage your anticipation and rumination so that you will be less likely to avoid conflict and more prepared to begin the problem-solving process. Rejection-sensitive dysphoria, RSD, is a symptom of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, in which a person experiences extreme emotional pain due to thinking they have been or will be criticized, judged, will fail, or be rejected. The individual with RSD has an extreme fear of rejection, often avoids social interactions, avoids potential conflict, and either stuffs their emotions and internalizes or externalizes by erupting with overwhelming emotions and big behaviors. They may feel like they have nothing to offer in conversations, think they did something or said something wrong, and experience deep levels of shame, causing them to want to withdraw, delete all their social media, and curl up in a ball and hide in a corner. If you're not familiar with RSD, please check out the link in the description below. I created a video that describes what it is in great detail along with 3 strategies you can use to manage it. I strongly encourage you to watch that video before this one because the individual dealing with RSD has to not only identify what they are struggling with, but begin to practice the strategies provided to give themselves better self-regulation opportunities in order to effectively engage in this video's strategies. I also encourage you to actively work on all of these strategies with a trusted professional while doing some cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, or dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, so you can process this video with your therapist to determine what does and does not work for you. And please make sure your therapist knows what RSD is because it may not be fully understood by every therapist. As a marriage therapist, I have the privilege of working with couples who have allowed me to assist them with navigating the communication and relational difficulties that disrupt and negatively impact the quality of their partnership. RSD interferes greatly with the couple's intimacy, effective communication, and overall relationship satisfaction, specifically in regard to conflict resolution and effective problem solving. This communication series is useful not just for individuals with RSD, but for any couple trying to find solutions to their communication problems. The main area of communication issues actually begins before the couple interacts with the individual with RSD's high propensity to anticipate the perceived criticism, judgment, or rejection coming their way from their partner. RSD is a symptom of ADHD, and ADHD has high rates of comorbidity with anxiety and depression. So you could be dealing with the perfect storm. You are not lazy and you do not have to try harder. We have to work together to figure out the best recipe for success. People with RSD worry a lot and have frequent mood shifts. Emotional dysregulation is an enormous part of ADHD, and regulating our emotions is one of the 5 components of executive functioning. More on executive functioning in a later video. Individuals with RSD could also be dealing with untreated ADHD, anxiety, and specifically anticipatory anxiety, and depression. The anticipation of the future interaction with their partner has the individual with RSD already making catastrophic predictions about, number 1, how angry and upset their partner is going to be. Number 2, how upset they themselves are going to be. 3, filling in their partner's lines on who's going to say what during this future interaction. Number 4, how their partner is going to blame them about what they did wrong. Number 5, they will say to themselves, why do they hate me? And you can probably fill in the blank for what applies to you. Of course, it doesn't always play out like this, and some of these things actually may have happened in their relationship, but I just wanted to give an example. You can remove or fill in what would fit your situation. The anticipation of how this perceived criticism, judgment, or rejection will play out or act out is what I refer to as the cinema spotlight, because the individual with RSD admittedly describes this movie-like scene that actually never plays out the way they construct it in their mind, or they never even give it a chance to see if their scenario would actually play out that way. In their mind, the individual with RSD plays every role in the scene, discounting their partner's independent thoughts, imagining their partner is going to say the most hurtful things possible, get so frustrated with this cinema spotlight that they shout out loud at themselves, thus making the whole anticipated non-event predictable in their mind without it ever actually taking place. Or when this movie plays out in their head and when they actually do communicate with their partner about the problems they're having, they are moving at a completely different pace than their partner. They are at Z and their partner is at A at the start of this conversation. This causes complete breakdowns, misinterpretations, and your partner likely saying things like, "What the heck are you talking about?" In a way, this imagined construct is the individual with RSD's way to maintain control of a situation that has a variable, which is their partner, as well as protect themselves from potential emotional injury. They are prone to projecting their inadequacies onto others through all the cognitive distortions their mind has tricked them into believing. In other words, if I think I'm not worthy, you should also think I'm not worthy. This confirms my belief I will never measure up, I'm a lost cause, and now we both agree I should be left alone in some dark alley or someplace where no one can find me because I won't be a burden to you any longer. Replace the cinema spotlight with this strategy instead. Stop exactly where you are. Be free of distractions and use DBT's mindfulness skills to observe and take note of your physical self. Observe if you are shaking, tense, clenching your fists, biting your nails, or even grinding your teeth. And then attempt to calm your body down by doing a progressive muscle relaxation technique, which focuses on contracting and releasing different muscle groups while simultaneously doing some deep breathing. After that, be mindful of your thinking self. You may find yourself ruminating, which is a series of negative thoughts looping in your head. Say out loud, "Stop," and count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop is the command you assign to the ruminating or racing thoughts. If you need more grounding and emotion regulation skills and to be more mindful of your environment, do the DBT 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, which reminds you to identify 5 things you see in front or around you, 4 things you can touch, preferably with different textures, 3 sounds or things you can hear, 2 different smells or fragrance around you, and 1 thing you can taste. Individuals with ADHD tend to have sensory sensitivity as well, so some strategies to manage that sensitivity may include wrapping yourself in a weighted blanket. Make sure your clothing is comfortable on your skin. Wear sunglasses if you're in a bright environment. Use a wristband to keep your hands busy. Go to a room that is free from distractions. Use earplugs or buds if you're sensitive to sound. Be in a temperature that is comfortable and not distracting to you. Oftentimes, just doing 1 or 2 of these grounding and sensory techniques is enough for you to be in a better mental and emotional place to think logically now. More tools to apply would be identifying the cognitive distortions or factually incorrect thoughts we have that flame up RSD anticipation. Examples include all or nothing, black and white distortions like, "I can't do anything right," "nobody will ever love me," labeling distortions such as, "I'm such a piece of garbage," "I'm a loser," "they will find out how stupid I am," and personalization and blame distortions, where the basic underlying theme is that if something was to go wrong, it must be somebody's fault, mine or theirs. These cognitive distortions are an impediment to accurately assessing life situations for what they actually are. When we internalize our thoughts, we only accept what we think and shut out anything anyone tells us even remotely different from what we think. This is another reason why I suggest to anyone struggling with RSD that they seek out CBT along with medication management options. Dr. William Dodson discusses in his findings that clonidine and guanfacine provide some baseline emotional protection for the extra sensitive individual along with learning CBT. Be on the lookout for my next video on rejection-sensitive dysphoria, identifying relationship triggers, how to fight fair with ground rules and boundaries, and how to use the 4 communication styles to effectively deliver your messages and resolve conflict with your partner in ways that are clear, respectful, caring, and loving to yourself and your partner. I also have an entire library of TikTok videos on cognitive distortions and interventions you can watch and practice. Watch those videos before you check out the next video to get a leg up on how to communicate better. I have attached the links in the description below. Please subscribe, like the video, and head over to my TikTok page if you would like to hear my daily mental health advice. Thank you for watching, and as always, be where you are, be resilient.